What is your will, my master?
Hey, good morning, Michael. Quick demo video for you for your Saberforge Ahsoka. As you know, you sent this to me. It had the electronics from Saberforge in it. It was an in-hilt LED. You had this soundboard. I'm not quite sure what it is, but went ahead and just took it out of there. Um, it was a one-button setup, so your switch was up here, and then your recharge port was right here. But I went ahead. I made this a two-button setup for you. So your front switch is your activation, and your back switch is your auxiliary. This is set up for NeoPixel now, so you've got CC sabers in there for your lit PCB. And then how to get to everything is you want to unscrew the pommel here. So due to the machining of the inside of this hilt, the chassis is a little bit tight because I made it a removable chassis and it had to be lined up with the pins properly. But I had to account for some of the misalignment in the machining. So it is a little tight. So once you get that pommel off, you'll see your speaker there. You just want to take this in your hand, kind of beat it up against your other hand, but cup your hand so your chassis doesn't go flying out, right? If we do this a time or two, it'll pop out like that, and you can pull it all the way out. So this is a wireless chassis, obviously. It uses a Smuggler's Outpost switch pixel PCB set. So you got this piece right here that lines up with those 14 pins. There's a 14-pin PCB in there, and that never comes out, right? And then here's your chassis. You've got CFX that you asked me for. So you can get to your SD card here. You can pop it in and out with your finger just like that. The board is adhesed down to the shelf because it didn't have a lot of room to play with here. Had to stack the board on top of the battery. You do have removable battery now. So, you got your spring side over here. Don't ever put the battery in backwards. I gave you a brand new 28mm Smuggler's Outpost. It's a Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker, and it sounds really good in this guy. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll throw a battery in. You hear that boot up? That's a good sound. This just has the stock font package on it for now. So if you want to add any sound fonts, you'll need to do that, but it's super easy to do on CFX. Now, technically, you can put this chassis in any way you want. I found that it fits in best if I align the CFX board with this fake control box right here. So just slide it right in just like this. Don't push directly in the middle of the speaker. Try to just push it on the edges. Just get it past the threads a little bit, and then this guy right here does all the work, right? So we'll screw this in. This can be a little tricky to get started. There we go. We'll screw this in about the last thread or so. You'll feel it tighten up. Go ahead and tighten this all the way down tight. It's pushing that chassis up against those pins, and it's locking everything in place. So you got your power button right here. We press this. Auxiliary. Or you can hold it down for blade lockup, and you'll see that here. And we'll go ahead and throw a blade in this guy. So you've got two retention screws that were in this saber. You've got one here that you don't want to mess with. That is what I use to hold my secondary chassis in place that you'll never see. But it's clocked correctly and it's held in with that guy. So don't loosen that guy. This guy right here, that's your blade retention. So that's the one that you're going to want to use. And I think that's an 832. And then, of course, this guy is set up to take a 1-inch diameter NeoPixel blade. So we'll put that blade in there, lock it down. This is set up to where if you want to change colors, just hold down aux and twist your wrist. Spectrum. You hear that? Now you can just twist the saber and you can cycle through different colors. So if we want a blue for Ahsoka, just hit the power when you find something that you like. And of course, when we turn this back on, it'll be blue. My blade is fitting in here a little bit loose. I'm having a little bit of issue with it, but I've sanded mine down a lot. If you have a brand new 1-inch diameter blade, you probably won't have that problem. But I'm having some difficulty testing this blade or this saber with my blade, just because I have that. I have sanded it so much. So to get to your next sound font, what you want to do is just hold down the auxiliary switch.
Sound bank selection.
Nightfall.
And we'll use either button to cycle up or down.
Crystal focus.
Nebula.
Granny.
Launch. Revolt. Saberforge. The Force Unleashed. You're rarely. Shoot.
Youngling.
This is General Kenobi.
When you find one you like, just hold a button down.
Goodness, you're not one to trifle with, are you? You can't win. Let the negotiations begin.
And we can change this color.
Spectrum.
Let's go with the green on this one, right?
There's never time to limber up.
I gave you a lot of different blade profiles to play with as well. So when you have the saber on,
Lovely, more smiling faces. Let the negotiations begin.
if you want to get to your different blade effects, again, hold down the aux and twist your wrist, but then this time keep the button held down.
Spectrum.
Keep holding.
Blade profiles.
Now, once you hear that, you can twist the saber again, and you can cycle through different blade animations. Some of them pick up better on camera than others. And then a lot of them, or a few of them rather, if they look like just solid blades. Here, let's pick one real quick. Just hit power when you find one that you like.
You're wasting your time.
There's a couple on here that just look like solid blades, but they have different tracers when the blade ignites and then also when it retracts.
Our guests have arrived. Let the negotiations
It's
begin.
like that. So this is a nice one to see
This
that
is the
trace,
last time Cody takes a day off.
because the ignition on here is slow, so you can see that trace crawling up the blade,
I have a bad feeling about this. Let the negotiations begin.
just like that. Hold it down for blade lockup.
Very confident, aren't you?
Just like that. And we'll go ahead and we'll take the blade out of here. So yeah, everything's working in this guy like it should. We'll go over taking the battery out real quick. CFX does have a deep sleep, but I always recommend taking the battery out when you're not using it anyway. All right, so we'll just go ahead and we'll open this pommel again. With the battery in the chassis is going to have a little bit more heft, obviously. So when you go to bump this on your hand, it's going to come out a little bit easier.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Just like that.
Negotiations begin.
It accidentally came on, but that's okay. So by the positive, over here by the positive side, by the speaker, you can pop it out with your finger just like that, and it comes out super easy. But that is basically your Ahsoka. Let me know if you got any questions, and if not, I will try to get this out in the mail to you today. All right, thank you.